Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and we are back with another G.I. Joe review. From the 50th plus 1 anniversary line, this is Cobra Commander. Um, Basically, there's not a lot to this figure. As I mentioned in the review of Shipwreck, this is just a straight repaint of the Retaliation Ultimate Cobra Commander that came out at the end of that line. And if you've seen a few of my Joe reviews, you know how much I really like that figure. Um, Even though with a couple shortcomings, which I'll gloss over here in a moment, I think that really is the best Cobra Commander we've gotten and probably will ever get. Interesting enough, this figure has actually launched a little bit of debate, whereas the other two members of the Cobra High Command, Destro and Baroness, have always sported a black with somewhat of a red highlight color scheme. Cobra Commander was always in blue. Now, I've hypothesized that perhaps at the planning stages of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero line, Cobra Commander was not intended to be the be all end all leader, that perhaps he was meant to be the direct leader of the troopers or something, much like how Starscream and Thundercracker at one point in time were actually, I'm sorry, Starscream and Skywarp at one point in time were actually conceived to be the leaders of the Decepticons. Who knows? If anybody has an answer to that or some insight, please feel free to share in the comments. But like I said, this figure is, for the most part, the same retaliation figure. He does have the hernia check hand, grasping the world pose. I don't know what it is with Cobra Commanders and not having two functioning hands. If you go back to the 25th anniversary line, when they redid the classic looking Cobra Commander the first time, he had that "I'm going to get you" fist. Now, of course, later on that mold was retooled with two working hands, but I just thought it was interesting. Unfortunately, the one thing that I don't like about this figure is the lack of the holster here on the back for his Python pistol, which I thought was really cool with the original Cobra Commander going back to 82, 83, and was redone for the 25th anniversary figure. I kind of understand why they didn't want to do it, because this way it allows Cobra Commander to interact with other accessories, but it would have been nice. I mean, they do include the Python pistol, which is right here in his hand, and just popped out of his hand. But he holds it quite well. Interestingly enough, the little shiv of doom here can actually be held in the hand this time. I don't really know what my problem was last time. um, but yeah, so let's pause and we'll get into a closer look. Okay, and here's just a closer look at Cobra Commander. Like I said, it's a straight paint swap. We're going black and red instead of the blue and black. You have some gold highlights here on the Cobra insignia. Nice glossy red paint used on the gloves. This is the helmeted head. I do want to mention, unlike the Retaliation version, the helmet is not glued on or glued on as tightly, so you can take it off. And to be honest with you, as you move the head, you do end up moving the helmet before you actually move the face. So it might be easier just to pop off the helmet, adjust the head how you want, and then pop it back on so it's lined up properly. Moving down, it's the belt, the Shiv of Doom holster, sheath, excuse me, and then you have that glossy red paint again on his boots. Um, the figure still has that same articulation. It's the enhanced articulation. So besides the universal and ball joints that all GI Joes have used since the 25th anniversary, it does have the extra wrist articulation up and down in the right hand, in and out on the left hernia check hand. And for some reason, the commander was given the rocker ankles, which actually do help give it a more believable look on the stand. But unfortunately, as you can see here, the thick paint kind of makes the peg holes a little smaller, so the figure doesn't peg on as flushly. Usually when it comes to stands, I mean, you've seen it in some of my reviews, I'll just use one or the other peg hole. It just helps balance the figure for dynamic poses. Actually, now there is a couple accessories I want to get to before we get to the whole allotment of accessories. As the original Retaliation release of this figure included, we do have the hooded head for Cobra Commander, this time done in a red mask but it's the same mold, you have that little sweeping action. But one thing that's been added, and to be honest, I don't know where this came from, is this really nice soft rubber cape that just drapes over Cobra Commander's shoulder ever so gently. It gives it this sweeping motion. I'm actually kind of reminded of M. Bison from Street Fighter 2. Although I think in the Japanese version, it was really supposed to be named Balrog or Vega, or whatever. But we know him as M. Bison. Um, yeah, because it's basically just covers that one arm, and while yes, you can still use the arm um, with the cape on, it is, if you look at the sculpting, it is meant to hang. The arm is meant to be straight, so this cape can clip over it more. But I kind of look at it this like, Shipwreck finally catches up with Cobra Commander. He has the cape, so he's like, "You think you got me?" and throws the cape off, and they get ready to tussle. But that is some nice additions to a really awesome figure. The rest of the accessories for Cobra Commander, I have to admit, are kind of boring. We already have that nice updated Python pistol, which I showed you before. Uh, but also included is this Rise of Cobra Neo Viper style rifle, which has actually popped up here and there. And surprisingly, and I'll show this in my conclusion, Cobra Commander can actually hold it quite nicely. That was something that really impressed me. I thought because of the grip he wouldn't be able to, but hey, Mazel Tov. And then the strangest inclusion are the repaints of the two bombs. Now, if you remember, the Retaliation Cobra Commander came with a Fang backpack helicopter. It was like a throwback to the Fang, but also a throwback to those action backpacks that were accessories for the Joe team. And it could drop bombs. Well, here are the bombs, but it's kind of pointless because Cobra Commander can't hold them, and part of the function of the Fang was to be able to drop them. I mean, they look nice, and you can use them in a display, but that's about it. Like I said, Cobra Commander can hold that Rise of Cobra Neo Viper rifle quite nicely, and you do, can actually have him wearing the cape, but as you can see, it does pop up a little in the back just because the arm is kind of loose. I mean, you can work it around. Can actually work as like a mid throwing of the cape type of pose. Like he's popping out the rifle. Even though, to be honest, I think the cape works best with the hood, just because you have that, color symmetry. Um, the Retaliation Cobra Commander, as I said, was one of the best figures ever made by Hasbro. This is just a repaint of that figure. So now you actually have a choice. Do you like blue and black or black and red? Uh, and the accessories trade-off, I mean, you lose the chopper, but who really used it to begin with? And in this case, you do get another figure in the set with Shipwreck. So, I mean, you're pretty much going to be buying the set for Shipwreck, or actually Cobra Commander. I mean, this is the perfect set where both figures are equally good. So it's not like one has to be stronger than the other. Both are great figures, and both are worth a pickup. I got this figure off of Amazon, but as of this recording, I do believe it is in stock at ToysRUs.com, BigBadToyStore.com, and I'm sure it is on shelves or will be on shelves eventually at Toys R Us nationwide. So definitely pick it up. It's a great set. It's your old pal Chuck for Cobra Commander. We will see you next time.